Hello, my Facebook friends, clients, and the like. I'm Jonathan Bengal here, host of Naked Tax Talk, coming to you from my little improvised new office space as I quarantine in my house. And I am joined by my lovely guest, Lise Lavigne, who's going to talk to us about sex, relationships, and then you leave it to me to bring it all back to taxes, baby. And, I was thinking about this just for a second, and that is, I need to check my headphones. So just 1 second. This is what we do. We go live. Okay, so we are ready to go. Okay, fantastic. So before I go though, I need to make sure I point out something that everyone's curious about. And that is, what is this? And this, my friends, is a bass recorder. And it's the only time that you're going to see me blow wood live for you here on this show. So just saying, I'm going to blow some wood. So here we go. So my husband and I, before he got the piano, we wanted to bring music to our household. So we invested in an entire a recorder family, and I taught myself how to play the bass. So watch me blow wood. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Oh well, the point is these keys are got to be like perfect. So turns out that we have a whole entire family from the very tippy top up there, right there, and all the way down to the entire family. So this is what we did when oh, my nips, when we wanted to bring music to our family. I got cleavage too, by the way, so you have a little bit there. So yeah, anywho's blue. So this is it. So I'm Jonathan Mingler, host of Naked Tax Talk. Ladies and gents, I gotta tell you something real fast though. There's a lot of changes. This came out with what President Trump just signed into law. The family, I forget, I wrote it down here. I was in webinars all day long. This is what tax consultants do. So besides this fabulous personality, we spend a lot of time catching you up on the shit that's going down. And so it's called the Emergency Family and Medical Leave Expansion Act. It's going to create a whole bunch of new bullshit that we're going to have to climb through. Everything from our taxes, including payroll tax. That's going to be a whole new beast now. The amount of credits and how it's going to impact everybody. Like, we're talking the real deal. But let's not talk about that yet. Let's bring on Lise. All right, get in here. Here we go. Bonjour, mademoiselle.
Bonjour, comment vas-tu aujourd'hui?
Oh, aujourd'hui, ça va bien. Oh là là, c'était très occupé. Mais voilà, je suis ici, je suis prêt. Et donc, nous pouvons commencer déjà.
Est-ce que tu es nu?
Oui, un petit peu, mais c'est mon secret, tu vois. Je suis pas propre. Mais toi, regarde-toi, tu as la chemise bleue, c'est très belle. Et regarde-toi. Okay, so just in case my Americans are watching us, we'll switch a little bit to English. But there you go. That's my little show off of my rusty French. I haven't spoken French in at least since September, October. So, mais voilà, c'est la vie. Donc, Lise, tell us a little bit who you are. What do we do? What's your speciality? All that fun stuff.
I love that little accent you got going there. Great. Well, my specialty is I help women break the cycle of bad relationships. I help them find the right guy. And yeah, because for the longest time, up until my mid-40s, I myself was attracting one bad relationship after the next. And then I decided to break that cycle. Now I've been helping other women do that for the past 10 years.
How did you know? How did you know that this was a cycle that you were in?
Because I was always attracting the same kind of guys. They were always, they didn't live me for real. They had alcoholism.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. Hold on. Sorry. I got a peanut gallery. They're commenting. I have a peanut gallery. So I'll show the world, but my peanut gallery is over there. So that's who's commenting. Sorry, Lise. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but they're leaving their comments. They're agreeing with you. Yeah, that son of a bitch. He come into your life, that motherfucker. Like, that's just what they're doing. So Okay, but seriously though, so who were these men's that were kept coming back into your life?
Yeah, these guys, they were just like, it was basically the same kind of guy over and over again in a different body, obviously. And yeah, they were, alcoholism. Uh, they had alcoholism problem or workaholism problem. They didn't really love
Mm.
me. They would cheat on me. They would just abuse me. Some of them abused me physically, and or some of them were liars. They were never giving all their love to me, and
Mm.
yeah, and a lot of them were liars. And I
What
heard.
was that?
Did you hear that? It's like
Yeah, I totally did. What was that? Was it an airplane or something? No, it can't be an airplane. They canceled flights.
it was like a gun or something that went off. I don't know. I don't know.
You're Canadian. Do you have gun rights in Canada?
Well, only if you register. But no, not all of us like have guns. No, I don't know what that was.
She's coming to us live, by the way, from Vancouver, Canada. So, which, by the way, you live in such a beautiful city and a beautiful country. I'm sorry for derailing us. We're going to come back, though. We're going to come back to this, but
Yeah, for sure. Because I come from Quebec, back east, and I love Vancouver. It's the best.
it's so funny. So I go to Vancouver, and it's funny because it feels like I'm in the United States. It still has a very similar like feel to it, except that you're in kilometers and that you're using liters versus gallons and Celsius versus Fahrenheit. But it still feels very American. And I was forgetting that, like, hello, I'm in a whole other country, and your sense of like where you know everything is so radically different from like where I associate everything to be. So I was like, okay, all right. But anyways, continue though. So yeah, so we are coming to you from Vancouver live.
Yeah, it's raining today. We've had great sun for the past like 2 weeks, but now it's raining.
Could that have been lightning, you think, and thunder that we just heard?
No, that was not lightning or
Okay.
thunder. That was something
Okay.
like a gun, really.
Something else. And you live in a gorgeous apartment that overlooks like a beautiful park. You can see the lake in front of you. Like, I just love where you live. It's so beautiful. So okay, so back to this topic though. So you were meeting guys that were basically liars, cheaters, physical abuse, emotional abuse,
Mhm.
and how does one even recognize that's what's really going on, and then
Well, I was sick and tired of having my heart broken. And when I was about, I can't remember how old I was now because I'm 55 now.
you look gorgeous, you look
Well,
fantastic.
thank
I
you.
hope to look as great as you when I'm 55. Like,
Awesome now. Yeah, yeah. I'll teach you my tricks. No Botox,
yes, please do.
lots of water. Um, yeah, so when I was about, I don't know, 42, 43 years old, I've been dating this guy for 3.5 years, and I was really in love with him. And but I found things that he was doing behind my back. I snooped into his emails. Yes, I did.
The place where us people who date people go to get burned. Just saying, I've done it before. Guilty as charged. Snooping in the phones, and I will never forget me going, "If you want to get burned, go snoop." So,
Well,
yeah. So you went snooping.
yeah, because a lot of people when they snoop, it's because they could sense something is wrong. You are sensing something is not right, and you're not actually getting the truth from that person, and you start snooping, and that's what I did. Guilty as
It's
charged.
following the instinct. It's following our gut that says something isn't right here. So what isn't right? And then you follow it. And then we are the ones that look crazy because we're like, I know something isn't right here in this situation. Like, I know you're doing something. I can't nail what you're doing, but my heart, my gut, everything is telling me otherwise.
Yeah. So I followed my intuition, and I snooped, and I managed to get into his emails. And the shit am I supposed to swear on your show?
That's okay. I don't care.
The shit I found was unbelievable. I was heartbroken, so completely heartbroken. And yeah, I mean, I tried to help him. I asked him, I said, "Look, you have a problem," and he admitted he had a problem. Anyway, but he didn't really follow through with the counseling or therapy or anything like that. And I said to myself, I can't stand this anymore. I can't stand having my heart broken over and over again every few years by guys. And that's when I started. Well, first of all, I'm a big believer in God. And I must say that I cried out to God. I cried
Yep.
the whole night, basically. And I said, please, God, help me. I don't want this life anymore. And
Yep.
one thing led to another. And then I started doing a lot of inner work on myself.
Ah.
And the things I found out about the kind of person I was. And I was holding on to so much pain from the past, and I didn't even realize it.
That isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth that we just move forward and we're totally unaware that it's the back end shit that was happening that's influencing what's happening in this moment.
Yeah. It affected the decision I was making. It affected how I was feeling, how I was behaving, all kinds of things like that. And like I have my background for your listeners is that I had been sexually, emotionally, and physically abused by different members of my family from the ages of 3 to 12.
Uh,
Now
uh,
that was, but as
that's
an adult,
intense.
it wasn't something I was thinking about. They don't think about that. It's still in your
Right.
subconscious, but you're just living your life as best as you know.
Yep.
And,
Yep. And the mind just kind of clears it away, and yet it's still functioning kind of like, have you ever opened up your computer to the task manager, and you see all these running apps in the background? You're like, what the fuck is system xyz, and what's the print zr22 and the this and that, and you're like, what are all these like sub programs, and they're just eating up the memory, it's eating up the emotion. It's like
absolutely.
that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly like that. What a great example you gave right now. Yeah, so it was like that. And I had to do a lot of work. And it wasn't easy. I mean, I remember spending weeks crying. Well, I'm a crier anyway, but
You're sweetly emotional.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve, you know. But yeah, it
Hmm.
was so painful, the kind of work I did. And it had to be done. It had to be done because I was living most of my life, well, all of my life, really, not the past 10 years,
Yeah.
but before that, with very,
Yeah.
very low self-esteem. And I didn't even know. I
Wow.
believed that I was a piece of crap all my life.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
believe you're a piece of crap, you will attract people that will treat you like a piece of crap. So
It's so
that's what's
true.
happening to me.
It's so true. And if I may say this, that translates into business too.
Hmm.
If you believe that you're not valuable enough to provide the service that you're providing or the product you're providing, you'll attract the people that want to keep on telling you, I'm not paying you what you're worth. And they don't actually say that out loud, right? They don't say that. It's kind of like the person you get involved in a relationship. They're not going to tell you to physically abuse you.
No.
It's going to happen after you've been with them for a while.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what happens in business too, is that people don't tell you they're not going to pay you. People don't tell you that they're not going to give you what you're worth.
Yeah.
They just wait until after you finish the job. And then they say, oh, by the way, I'm not paying you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You
It's
send
the
them an
same damn thing,
invoice.
isn't it?
Yeah. You send them an invoice, and they criticize everything, and they want you to give a discount or not pay you. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So when you were like, you know what, I've had enough, and I want to increase my value. I want to step back into my power of who I am. Like, you reached out to God, and by the way, God is in the business to say yes, right? That's what he's here for. He's in the business to say yes. You know, I happen to be a Buddhist, and I know that the Buddhas are always saying yes. And then we also have this thing that I like to call the universe as well, and we know it's always saying yes. Like, there's these greater powers that exist in our lives that are unexplainable, but they're in the business to say yes. Yes to everything we want, right? And like you just said, if you felt like you were a pile of poop, the universe is going, oh, okay, well, let me give you more poop,
That's right.
because I'm not in the business to say no.
Yeah, that's what I got. More poop, but not the last. Not not when I decided, okay, enough is enough of this shit, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
it's like it's amazing what happened because it's like God or the universe put TV programs or even books and then people into my life that started to teach me all kinds of wonderful things that I have never heard of before. And then I started a program called Freedom Session. It's a Christian program. It's based
Mm-hmm.
on the 12 steps of the Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's for
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of different issues. So I
Yeah.
attended Freedom Session, and that's when I realized, holy cow, it. I have no self-esteem because my dad abused me sexually, physically. I would beat us up, anything he could find his hands on, just because he was in a bad mood one day. Um, yeah, all kinds of things like that, and yeah, it wasn't easy, but
Mm-hmm.
I had to reflect on my life, right? It's like you can't move forward
Yeah.
in life without analyzing where you are, and that's how you figure out what's wrong, what kind of patterns you're living. Same in business, right?
Oh my God, abso-freaking-lutely. Because I mean, there's two things I want to comment on though, and that is I'll use this analogy. When you said it a minute ago, when you say to the universe, I want this, and all of a sudden things start just kind of popping up in your life. It's kind of like when you're talking to friends about things, and then you pull up your Facebook, and all of a sudden there's new advertisements.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of like that, isn't it? Right? Kinda
yes,
like that. It's like all the like, what's with all these advertisements? It's like that. God and universe and everything else is constantly listening and constantly saying, here. And what's interesting about it is it takes a level of awareness, doesn't it? Like a little bit of awareness to go, oh yeah, that TV program, the webinar, the person that's coming into my life. Like, really what's happening is internally we're asking ourselves and going, why? Why is this person here all of a sudden? Why is the TV program here all of a sudden?
yeah,
And in a way, we're asking, how does this fit into the wish that I made? And that comes from the awareness of saying, oh, that's right, I did make a wish. I
yeah,
made a wish to change my life. I made a wish to do something, and then you become aware. And in business, like you said, it is so true how that really ultimately works. If we say to the universe, I want better clients, I want higher value, I want to be perceived as truly who I am, which is in my case an expert in taxes and
yeah,
all that fun stuff, like the universe goes, okay, let's make that happen. Let's start to remove the people that no longer fit your alignment of values. And we have to become okay with that as business owners. We have to be okay with either letting go of clients, or if clients let us go, going, okay, like, okay, not a problem. Like, you're going to go your way, I'm going to go my way. But many of us are what we call are attached to everything. I mean, this is who we are as human nature, really, right? And so we're so attached to the illusion of the friendship or the illusion of the relationship, even though from their point of view, it's already ended. And so we're like the desperate lover that's like, don't break up with me. Please don't break. Listen, I'll tell you what, I'll do all your tax returns for you. I'll do all your tax returns for you. And I'll do the whole year's worth of bookkeeping. And just please don't leave.
yep,
Isn't that how that works in sex as well and in relationships?
yeah. It's all related, really. Yeah, I,
Mm-hmm.
I've even given
Oh,
work for free, like coaching for free, so many times for people, you know, because
yeah.
I just didn't really value my work, right? I mean, I value my work.
Yeah. And
It's like, oh, okay, maybe you don't have enough money. I'll just give it to you for free. I don't know how many times I've done that in business.
well, so let's clarify this. Let's clarify this for a moment. So I'll say it like this. It's we're constantly giving advice because this is the nature of who we are, right? And by the way, my cousin Desiree, she's watching us because she fell in love with you yesterday, by the way. And
Oh,
so she actually commented just now, the illusion of what it could be. So
mhm.
that's what we fall in love with. You're absolutely right, cousin. That's exactly it. Dealing with what it could be. And um which we kind of okay wait, oh yeah, so it's about our coaching with each other, and we do it naturally. It's kind of like I gave you some advice, you give me advice, but see, we're doing it from a heart of giving, right? Like, let me give this to you because it's a gift from me to you. Where it becomes a use you and abuse you is, can I pick your brain for a quick question? What do you feel about blah 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 blah? And if you're the one who's constantly giving the advice the one way direction, this is no longer a two-way relationship. This isn't a friendship. This isn't a love relationship. This isn't a sexual relationship. It's simply being used and abused. And you and I both know what that means. To be used and abused is a one-way relationship.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's fine maybe to help a person and give some coaching for free or some advice for free, right? But
Hmm.
if it's reciprocated in some ways, okay, I'll coach you for free, and then, you know, maybe you can promote me or something like that, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of abuse happening, and when our self-esteem is so low and we don't set boundaries, I'm a big believer now of
Mm.
boundaries, right?
Yes, ma'am. We are talking about setting boundaries, which is a perfect segue because my friend Chevelle, who's a fucking amazing, she's really amazing.
Oh, for that.
So Chevelle, yeah, she says no brain picking. That's exactly right. No brain picking. Stop picking my brain. And you talk about boundaries. This is something that I finally got value from one of my coaches, Michelle Weinstein. Shout out to you, baby. And
Mhm.
she only works with just tax planners. Tax planner, that's it. And if there's anything that I paid her for, it was to finally teach me boundaries, something that I didn't have before. And I didn't even know that I did not have boundaries. Isn't that scary? Like, as a business owner, as a multi six figure earner that owns now not just one company, but four companies, like, I had no boundaries. And it's costed me a lot at the end of the day. It's costed many of us a lot. And so she created a policy that she says, listen, people have got to go through these steps just to even pick your brain, if you even allow them to. And there are these standards of like poop, poop, boom. When she did that in, I think it was her third week of her class, it connected because I translated that into, you know what? I'm not going to just let guys come over here and utilize and use me because they're in the mood to get their rocks off, but leave me hanging. And so I put my foot down. And you know what happened when I put my foot down? Those relationships stopped because I put myself in the control of the power, saying, listen, you want this to be two-way, we'll be two-way all day long, babies, because I enjoy having fun. But if it's going to be a one-way relationship, it's no longer valid for me. And that's exactly what happened. They went away. It happens in business too.
Mhm.
When you set up the boundaries, either the client stays or the client goes, or better yet, you let go of the client when they no longer meet your boundaries.
Absolutely.
And that takes a lot of balls and a lot of confidence. And that's something I'm working on, by the way, is that confidence factor. But many of us, because we're back to the relationship cycle, which you're extremely familiar with, is but don't leave me, please.
Yeah.
Please don't leave me.
Well, the
By the
most
way,
important thing, just don't leave me.
Yeah, just I'll do whatever you want, right? Like pull me by my hair harder, like if that makes you stay longer, like you know what I mean. This I don't have very much hair anymore. It's kind of going. But anyways, so my question, Desiree asks the question, uh, for both of us. How do you convince somebody of your value? And she's asking you, Lise, what finally made you decide to be the CEO of your company? So I'll let you answer that question, and then I'll give some feedback too.
Well, you can't convince anybody of anything, first of all. You just have to live your values, you know. Um, for years, I didn't even know I had value, right? And when you start
Mm-hmm.
yourself and you realize that, yeah, you're just as worthy as anybody else, and you don't have to let people abuse you. You start, like, my values now are honesty, loyalty, right, and love. And if I live those values,
Mm-hmm.
and if people that are in your life don't respect you, you don't have to convince anybody. I'm not in the business of, I don't believe in convincing anybody. You just,
Yes.
your
Yes,
character
you just
will show,
yes.
your decisions will show your value. If somebody is mistreating you, you say, I'm sorry, I really don't like that. Can you please behave a different way? And if they continue, if, if they still do the shit you don't want them to do, you say that you're not respecting my boundaries. So bye bye. Sometimes you have to be tough.
And that's the thing. So one has to be willing to accept that when you stand firm in your ground, that they are going to either react and say, well, then fuck you, like, you know what I mean? Or they're going to walk away, and one has to be willing to accept the outcome. It's like my friend Chevelle, who, by the way, she says that boundaries will repel those that need to go and attract those meant to stay.
Yeah.
And it's like she taught me this very important thing, and that is what do we want the outcome to be? What is the intention that we want? And that brings me back to this question here that my Desiree, that my cousin poses, which is, do we convince people of our value? Well, it's like what you just said, Elise. It is about our values are the things that we believe fundamentally in our heart, in our mind, in the core of who we are, our essence. And oh, you see, Marley even agrees. So, like, the thing about it is it's like this. I remember in one of my meditations classes, I remember the monks would tell us that when if you whatever it is you want to achieve in life, your actions, so forth and so on, it starts first with our intention. It starts first with us essentially waking up and saying, today I'm going to be the most loving person I can possibly be. Why? Because I love me for me. Or it's the intention of, I'm going to make sure that I try not to judge anybody today and just accept them for who they are. It's about the intention, because what happens is when the intention is created, what happens is our mouth follows suit, right? It follows suit. So what things we say go in that direction. And then what happens is, because we say it, now the physical body also moves in that direction too. And it's extremely powerful, because truth is that without the intention, it's like being out there with no compass, with no guide, with no sense of where I'm headed. And it boils down to intention. Physical means verbal will follow with the physical and with the physicality behind it. So yeah, cousin, this is what I'll say. You can never convince somebody that you're valuable. The only person that you can convince is valuable is you.
Yep.
Because why? Because the only person that talks to you 24 hours a day and night while you sleep is this little inner voice in here. And this little inner voice has been taught to tell us bullshit our entire life. It's that little voice that says to you, "Oh, you don't deserve to get paid that. You don't deserve. They're not going to pay you. They're not going to pay you what you're worth. They're not going to buy your program. They're not going to let you coach you. It's that little voice, that fucking, you know who that voice is. And this little voice, you have to train it to start talking to you in the positive way. Because that little voice, nobody hears it but you. It is the mind, and nobody can read it. Nobody can hear it. I don't care if you're a psychic or not. You cannot read somebody else's mind. And so what we got to do is focus on here. So if I talk to myself, by the way, my technique is this. I look in the mirror every morning and I purposefully, with intention, I think of something positive to tell myself. You know, it's kind of like saying to myself, like, I love that you're getting some gray hair here because finally it's showing your age. Like, I love that about this. Like, it's my 2-day growth right here. So it's about consciously deciding to compliment yourself. And what I discovered is the more I complimented myself, the more I start to fall in love with myself and to see the value of who I am. And then something magical happens. You discover that the reflection in the mirror is actually your soul. Because the soul has never been told that no one's going to buy from you. Your soul has never told you that you're ugly. Your soul has never told you you're not worthy enough, that you're not lovable enough, that you're not fuckable enough. Like, your soul has never said this to you.
Yep.
The only person that says that shit to you is this little self-conscious little voice you hear that says that shit. So here's how you overcome it. Talk out loud. Because the subconscious mind and the conscious voice cannot talk at the same time. It's impossible. So override it. Talk purposely to yourself in a positive light. Don't let this voice talk. And when this little voice starts to tell you negative crap or worthy or whatever, you know what you say to it? You confront it. Because for me, I'm a timid kind of guy. I don't like to fight. But I don't have a problem looking at the little voice saying, just shut the fuck up for once. And then you say, from now on, you're only allowed to say nice things to me. From now on, you're only allowed to reinforce my positive, awesome genius, like who I am in the greatest picture of life. That's all you can say to me. And that's important because when people bullshit us or they bully us or they devalue us, that little voice now has become more of your courage. It becomes your value, cemented in who you are. Yeah. And it's telling you secretly, because nobody can read your mind, they're just full of it. Don't believe it, baby. You're everything you're meant to be in this life. You are gorgeous. You are adorable. You are everything you're meant to be. That's the little voice inside of you that has to be trained to overcome the negative crap that we've been told how to appear in this life.
Yep. There's an exercise I give to all my clients. And because a lot of the times we don't pay attention to our thoughts. So I ask them, okay, write down everything, and take a piece of paper, write down everything you can think of that is negative about yourself on one side of the sheet. And then on the next, like right beside it, on the next, next to it.
A T chart.
Yeah, a T chart. If you call yourself, if you always say, I'm ugly, well, write the opposite of that, right? I am beautiful, or whatever it is that you want. I'm attractive. I mean, you might not believe that you're gorgeous, but write something that you might be able to believe, like I'm attractive, or I'm so dumb, right? I'm smart, I'm intelligent. And do that with all the thoughts that you're aware of. And then I tell them, okay, take this sheet of paper, fold it in half, and then rip out the negative part, and then read those negative statements all day long. Well, not all day long, you might not have time, but as often as you can, especially in the morning and before bed. And you're gonna say, I'm gonna read, I'm gorgeous, I'm smart, I'm successful, I attract lots of men, I attract clients, I live a beautiful life, all these wonderful things. And you might not believe it at first. Like I used to do mirror work, right? Like same as you, right? Look at myself in the mirror and say, I love you, Lise.
Yes.
It was hard for me to say that at the beginning. I would cry. The words "I love you" would not come out. But now I can look at myself in any mirror and say, "I love you, babe. I love you, Lise." You know, it's hard at first because it's a brand new habit. Any new habit
Yes.
is a little hard, right? But you have to keep going. It's the only way to go.
And here's the thing. Look, if you're in the bathroom by yourself, who's in there with you? Nobody. So, do you look like a fool other than to your own self? But here's the thing, you look at yourself as that fool and you embrace it and you say, you know what? I might look like a fool. I might look silly talking to myself and saying that I love myself. Actually, it's more like I love you. It's very specific. I love you. And that might feel silly and what have you, but who's watching you? And better yet, now this is easy to say but not simple to accept. My Alina Vincent said this from stage and I loved what she said. It is easy but not simple. And it is easy for us to go, yeah, I think you're cute, I think, but it's easy to do that, but it's not simple because it takes a lot of work. And exactly that, Lise, the more and more we do it, the more and more we will actually finally believe it. And in fact, case in point, the other night, my friend Chevelle, she and I were talking, and I had to actually write it down and remind myself. So I drew myself a little. That's supposed to be me holding a sword shield, and what it says is I have my protectors. I had to remind myself that I have those around me that protect me, be it the greater forces, be wonderful people like you, Lise, who blesses my jackets, be it like my friend Chevelle, who gave me the insight into 3 types of speaking techniques, like be it to all the people that have come into my life that have my back. And then I put down, I have my friends, because we forget that we forget that we have friends and then we feel like we're alone.
Yeah.
But the truth is we have got hundreds and hundreds of friends. And then I have my lovers because we all want to be loved. We all want to be like, as beautiful and gorgeous and everything. And here's the truth. If you really were that terrible, you wouldn't have any lovers of any kind. You never would have. So think about that for a moment. Just think about that. I have confidence, courage, wit, brilliance, charm, strength. Like I had to write all that down and continue exactly what Lise is talking about. Remind myself that this is true.
Yeah. Even now, I still have to remind myself because, you know, I have to. Like, I want to be an international speaker, right? And sometimes
Yep.
it's scary, right?
Yep.
But I have to say, you are smart, you are a great speaker, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would let
Yep.
those bad, negative statements stop me. But I am
Yep.
more powerful than my thoughts.
Yeah. And that is truth because there is power behind the way we think. Again, it comes back to the intention. Because man, that as soon as that intention is created, aka the wish, boy, everything gets pushed into motion. And it is up for us to tune into that and kind of go, oh yeah, just again what we just talked about earlier, people start showing up, things start happening to you, and it's us to go, how does this fit into what I've been wishing for?
Yeah. Wayne Dyer has a
At the
great
end of the day.
book. Remember the late Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer? He has written a book called Wishes Fulfilled. And I just love that book. And it basically says the same thing, right? Our thoughts are powerful. And the universe,
Thoughts are powerful.
yeah, thoughts are very powerful. And once if we put an intention out there, and if we ask the universe what we want, it's going to work for us, you know? Okay, maybe not like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I want to win the lotto, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not a genie. I'm sorry, but the universe is not really a genie. But if you
Yeah.
really, really want something that does align with your purpose, you're going to get it. I'm a strong believer in that.
Yeah, and they say because my friend Devine, he says that when you get the yes and the amen, that's how you know A, that you're fulfilling your life's purpose,
Yeah.
And that's how you know everything is happening in your life. And I remember like 9, 10, 11 months ago when I started working on myself too, I started recognizing that I think it's Abraham Hicks who says that when there is no resistance, that's how you know you're fulfilling your life's purpose. And that's kind of how, if you think about that, it's kind of like, for example, it's kind of like in this case, like you and I were talking, we're just having a great moment, and we play on the topic of like sex and taxes and stuff like this. But the truth is that we get people that respond back, you get people engaged, people that go, hey, I want to work with you. That's the yes, and that is the amen. Or better yet, when you're talking to somebody and they're in agreement with you, or you're in agreement with what they're saying, I should say, again, that's another affirmation. It's another yes and another amen. But by the way, I remembered this too when by the way, I stumbled into mirror work. I didn't even know that was a thing. I just like stumbled into it. And I remember like, this is what I figured out. So of course, our reflection is our soul. That's what I was saying. Like, this is my thing. And um, uh-oh, I lost. Oh, yes. And so as a result of this, I realized that we're also a mirror reflection of ourselves. And that was confirmed by me by Julie Cotton. So shout out to you, Julie. We were on the cruise, and that's exactly what she said to me. And as soon as she said it, I was like, oh my God, you're so right. And it's true. We are a mirror reflection, because if I say to you that you're beautiful, you will turn around and say, well, you're adorable, you're beautiful too. And let's be real for just a moment. That compliment that you give back to me is fulfilling my ego. And the people out there that say, like, you got to let go of the ego and you got to let go of the this and the that, I have a problem with that, because I believe that it's been my ego that's kept me to survive from extreme poverty to be successful in life. The ego, when used in the right way, just like with everything else, it's what keeps you strong. It's what keeps you in with what you're supposed to do. Like anything else, I can take the ego, I can feed it a whole bunch of bullshit, and then I can make it be terrible. Or I can choose to take the ego and go, yeah, that's right. I am a genius. That's right. I am a tax consultant. That's right, Lee. You are an amazing a prayerist, protectionist. Like that's it. Like, we have to accept it ourselves first. And the ego needs that. So same thing, like I said, if I say to you something terrible and I'm like, ugh, I don't like that hair, girl, you're going to respond back and you're going to say, well, I don't like those teeth. So then that, of course, hurts the ego, right? And so it's a mirror reflection. Simple as that. It's really that simple. It's really that easy, not that simple. It really is. It's a mirror reflection of self.
Yeah. Yeah. And did we even answer the second question that Des had? I don't think so.
Des, okay, let's see. Let me go back to it. So Des originally said, she said, yeah, she wanted to know, so what finally made you decide to be the CEO of your company?
Okay, well, like I had been a paralegal in family law for like 30 years. That's a long time. And
Mm-hmm.
doing family law, you hear a whole bunch of problems, why people are getting divorces, and separation agreements, divorce, custody battles. You see a lot of shit happening, right? And as a paralegal, like, you're basically the forefront, right? Because the clients, they talk to you way more than they talk to the lawyer. They
Mm-hmm.
and they share with you, like, you're almost like they're confident, right? And
Yes.
so I was dealing with family problems with the clients like for 30 years. And also, like, I was very, very successful paralegal. I was the highest paid paralegal in British Columbia. And that was my intention when I started that career. But anyway, I digress.
Mm.
So
That's my favorite word. I digress.
when my heart got broken way back when, 10 years ago, and I decided to change my life, and then I started doing the work on myself, I was I started becoming like I became a sponsor to other women and volunteering because all my life I said to myself or to other people if they ask me, I'm only good at two things in my life. I'm the greatest paralegal and I am great in bed. That's what I would say. I didn't believe I had any other kind of talents. And
Mm.
I did not even say that. I would say I'm great in bed and I'm a great paralegal. That's all I would say. But anyway, I started volunteering, and the women, they would say, wow, you're really good at this. You should do this. And anyway, the more I transformed my life, the more I had this, this like, it was like a craving to help other women because there is no reason. If I had known what I know now, right now I'm going to cry. If I had known what
It's
I
okay
know
because I'm.
now, do you cry?
Oh, I can definitely. Yes. Yes.
Had I known what I know now, right, I would not have suffered all these years attracting one
Yes.
bad dude after the next and having no self-esteem and all that kind of stuff. And I want to teach that. That's why I started my business, is because I don't want any other person to feel the way I felt all those years. And that's why I'm the CEO of my company, because I've changed my life with God's help and all the other people in my life that have helped me transform. And I want to do the same for other people. That is my
That's
answer.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, that is it. And it's interesting that you say that because that's kind of been something that I also found myself unaware of, and that this has been the new mission that I'm on. And I had no idea that I wanted to work with women. And I just knew that women always showed up in my life, like
Mhm.
all the time. Like you are my protector. And women have always come into my life in one form or the other. And I didn't understand that I was supposed to really be helping women. And it wasn't until I made love to a woman a couple of years ago now. And when I did, that's when I discovered that women have all the power. As a man, I discovered this. And in an instant, I realized, oh my goodness, this is what men have been craving and wanting since the beginning of time. And they want it so much so that they create rules and laws to make you women second class citizens, to force you into get letting go of your power and giving it to them. And so in the process of all that thought, I thought to myself, man, I work in an industry that works directly with tax law. And the thing is that money is the energy that moves from one to the next. And every single one of us needs money in order to really get out there and to fulfill our purpose. I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah.
And I thought, how do I help women? Oh, I know. I will help them to unlock that mystery, uncover those legal loopholes, and reveal those missed opportunities. Because if I can women to step back into their value and to raise it and to reclaim their power, watch out, babies. There's nothing that can stop us. And here's the crazy thing. I had to learn to do that for myself. I'm learning to do that for myself as well. And someone said to me, "No, Jonathan, you have a woman's heart." And I never knew that. And it was like, oh my goodness, that makes total sense. Like, I just get along with him. And I'm a gay man, obviously. Well, maybe you didn't know, but now you know. And like, I just get along with women, but I don't think I get along with women just because I'm a gay man. I really believe that my heart truly feels and understands. It has the compassion, it has the love, it has all this stuff, but it also has something else, which is I'll still do the job for you, but go ahead hitting me. It's the same thing. It's the same thing of please be my boyfriend at all costs. Please be my client at all costs. Why? Because this is what we've been taught in our culture. It's what we've been taught by our family. It's been taught by all that crap.
Yeah.
Right? We
Yeah.
got to rise above that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's fantastic that you're the CEO of your company. I think that's amazing because isn't that what we are? We're CEOs of our companies. This is what we do.
You said that yesterday on your live yesterday. And because, I consider myself like a coach, a businesswoman, but yeah, I'm actually a CEO, right? You think of a CEO like of a big, 500, what's that called? 500
Oh, the Fortune 500, the Fortune 500.
company, right? I said, no, I don't have that. Well, not yet. But yeah, I am a CEO. And it's like a different way of looking at it, right? I mean, I wear many hats
Hmm.
because I am just me. But yeah, it's just like it brings a different mindset.
Completely. And I have to give Sandra Yancey of eWomen, the founder of eWomen's Network, I have to give her credit for that.
Mhm.
Because she said that at a talk that she gave here at my Phoenix chapter. And the moment she said it, she said, women, we are CEOs. It was like this big, massive, bright light that just was like the obvious, but not so obvious. And
Yeah,
I was like, that's exactly it. We are the CEOs. And when you look at when you think of a CEO, or you think of a woman CEO, let's be specific, she's powerful, she's strong, she charges her value, she doesn't back down, she doesn't get bullied, she tells you take it or leave it, she has an idea of who she's going to work with, right? Like that's a female CEO. That's who comes to my mind.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, and another thing I want to mention because you help women and men as well, but you help women with
Mm-hmm.
businesses and their businesses. It makes me think, okay, well, there's a lot of women that stay in really bad relationships because of money,
Yes.
and if we can all if we could just empower women to earn their own money, they'll be free to leave any kind of bad relationships.
It
And
is so true.
yeah, it really pisses me off because money sometimes, well, I can't leave because I won't have any money and the children will starve. Like I hear this all the time, right? Like money. So I'm so glad that you have
And
with money.
well, here's what happened is I thought of the business translation, and the business translation to that is when we're undercharging for us, or let's say we're changing our value, we're raising our rates, we're doing something, right? And we got to go back to either an existing client, this is typically the case, or even like a new client, and you're saying, hey, listen, so I'm raising my value, I'm providing more value to by providing this, providing that, da da da, da, and our rates are also increasing to reflect this value, and what happens is that we get shrinkage because we're like, oh no, but it goes back to the whole desperation for them to stay on as a client. It goes back to the same thing because why? Because I'm not going to have the money to pay rent. I'm not going to have the money to pay. And do you know what I found? I found a fallacy in that thought process because it literally happened to me. You see, I my company works like this. I get paid to create custom tax plans, which, ranges in the tens of thousands of dollars for people to pay me to do this. To maintain that plan, to make sure that it works, to make sure that all of the stuff that you don't have to worry about, in order to do that is a whole separate engagement, and it's a monthly fee. And that's how I create fixed income in my business. And so when I created fixed income by subscription, so people pay me a subscription to continue my services,
Yeah.
what happened is when I'm doing the math, I'm going, okay, I got like 12,000 that comes in every month, right? This is approximately every month I get 12 G's. It goes into the checking account beginning of the month. Why, ladies? Because you get paid first before you do work. And so the money comes into the account, and I'm like, okay, great. Now, when I go back and I let go of a client, or a client does whatever, blah, 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 the fear is, oh my gosh, how am I going to have money to pay for XYZ? But here's something that I forgot. Many of us forget. we have revenue coming from other things that we do as well. So like sometimes I will do an hour consultation, $500 for the hour as of this filming today. And so like I will charge for a consultation, or maybe I have a side thingy that someone wants with payroll, or I don't know. And there's separate ways of which money's coming. So the brain goes, I only have fixed income. Well, here's the thing. I have a client that have had clients that have not paid me, and you keep doing the work. Why? Because you want them to be with you the whole time, please. And so you keep doing the work. And here's what I discovered. They're not paying me. So the financial cash flow, yes, it hurts, but it wasn't detrimental. I didn't close up my business. I didn't fire people. And the lesson that taught me was if I could survive months without getting paid and still do the goddamn work, which we don't do anymore, then that means I can survive if I let go of clients or if they let me go. That's what it taught me. And that's hard to do because it boils to what you're saying, which is in the relationship. If I leave, he's who makes all the money. Or if I leave, how am I going to pay rent? It's the same thing. It's the fear. It's the mindset of scarcity that kicks in and goes, there isn't enough. And we both know that universe says yes to everything. So if you say to universe, I don't have enough of, it goes, absolutely. Well, sure you don't have enough of.
Yeah. Well, I want to share a story about the universe.
Please do.
Because I left my ex-husband. I only had one husband, but many boyfriends. But when I left my ex-husband, I was 25. My son was 2 years old. And he had all the money. I was not working. And I had no skills. So I left my husband, and I was on welfare for about a month. And I was reading the newspaper, the local newspaper called the North Shore News here. And there was an ad in there that says, if you're on welfare or receiving unemployment insurance, the government will send you to school to it was called Pittman Business College, and it's become a legal secretary. And I said, oh my gosh. So I applied, and I got more money than welfare was giving me. They paid me daycare for my son. I got a clothing allowance and lots of money for food and pay rent. And it was amazing. But, you know, things happen. The universe helped me because things work out usually, right? Things do work out.
Yeah, they always. And by you getting the training and by you having that job, in a way, it gave you the skill sets that you would later apply, which brings me to Chevelle's comment, which is financial freedom equals lifestyle freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then within a year,
we can.
Yeah, what?
Go ahead. You go ahead. In a year and a half, you were saying?
Within a year and a half of being a legal secretary, I was working for this particular lawyer, and he said, Lise, you're too smart to just be a legal secretary. Let me send you to Capilano University. Well, back then it was called Capilano College. Anyway, let me send you to Capilano College to be a paralegal. And I said, oh my God, it was like amazing, right? But like, I was a single mom, and I was working full time. And then he gave me the money to for my whole paralegal studies. It was amazing. And yeah, and I never suffered for money after that. It was amazing.
Isn't that interesting? Because earlier in the broadcast, and for anybody who may jumped on a little bit late and didn't get this part, but earlier you had said that growth comes from also being aware of the past.
Yeah.
And looking at that. And this is an example where we're talking about how we're allowing universe to fulfill our wishes or receiving of the wishes. And you're able to look back at that and say, this guy helped me out financially.
Yeah.
And as a result, it set me up so that I'm sitting here right now with you having a conversation. Yeah. It works like this. I mean, I'm constantly trying to connect the dots. I'm trying to go, how does this fit into my purpose? How does this fit into my purpose? And I'm looking for the reasons. And when something doesn't feel right, that's usually an indication that you've got to turn around and you got to let it go. And we have to practice non-attachment, which is I'm not attached to the outcome, which, by the way, in sales, that's really important, by the way. If we're attached to the outcome of the sale, you won't make the sale, because that's when we become desperate. That's when we become like, please buy from me, please, 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 I'll discount it, I'll give it free, just love me, like me. In sex, it's the same way. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the same way. If, in sex, if we're like, please, 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 just do me, please. Like, if we're not discriminatory about who we're with, their sense of value disappears.
Yeah. And like we have to raise our standards, right?
That's it.
I find that
We
a lot
have
of
to.
people, they said this is what I have 7 deadly sins that I tell people not to do in dating and in relationships. And settling for less than you deserve is one of those deadly sins. A lot of people, they go out there, and whether it's in business or dating, I'm in dating, so they have no standards whatsoever because they want to be loved so much. They're so lonely, right? And then they start dating these guys and they just accept whatever it is out there just because they're desperate. I have to say it. A lot of people are desperate. And I just want people to love who they are and value themselves.
That's it. That's it. And it takes a lot of work, and it's not an overnight fix. It's not a pill you can take. It's none of that. It is truly kind of, I think what happens is that you just grow tired. I think that's what happens, isn't it? You just kind of grow tired of it. And you're just like, man, I'm just tired of people just like basically boning me and then leaving a void in my heart. Like, I'm just tired of it. It happens in business too. You get tired of being charging somebody back in the day when I first started doing this. I was charging $15 an hour. Baby, you can't talk to me for $500 an hour now. But my thing is like, I was charging $15 an hour, and then what would happen is I would get so like I would be so resentful because to myself, like, man, I can't believe like I'm charging $15 an hour and that's all they're willing to pay me. Like, it would frustrate me, and I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know how. And it turns out that it all boils back to value and how we perceive ourselves.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, today I had somebody send me a Facebook message, and they said, how much were you going to charge for a do it for you for the SBA loans? Here you go, people. It's going to range between $2,500 to $5,000. That's what's going to cost you to have me fill out those damn forms for you. Because you know why? It's fucking complex. So, that's my value. And so they responded back and they said, oh, wow, you're way more than than another guy that I know. You know what I responded back with? Yeah, because I'm valuable.
Yeah.
And how did I get there? Because I don't have an attachment to the outcome.
Same in dating, a lot of people, they go on a date, right? And right away, there's chemistry there. And right away they start thinking, oh my gosh, he might be the one. You don't even know the guy. You don't know the girl, but mostly it's women that think like this. Oh, I'm going to marry him. No, I'm so in love, and communication was so great. And then what happens is you go home with him. And
yes, you do.
You move too fast, right? You move too fast. Why do you move too fast? Because you don't value yourself. You are, let's say, you're a $5,000 person. You're not $10. Value yourself more.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's funny you say that. I used to say, I'm no longer that cheap whore that does a blowjob on the corner of the street for $20. Like, now you got to wine me, dine me, buy me some steak, and you're going to spend a few $1,000 on this before you even get to the goodies.
Exactly.
Like, that's where we have to be. We have to raise our value.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. You're not going to
Yeah,
accept
it's funny.
call like midnight. Oh, well, you awake? Let me come over. And it's like fucking midnight. Like, hell no. Where am I? A whore? No. Yeah.
No, those days are over. Those days are over. Maybe when we were younger because we wanted to. And here's the thing, though. This is important. If we choose to have a one night stand with you, let's be clear. If we choose to have a one night stand with you, it's because we're making the choice to have a one night stand with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Yeah. It's not because, we don't value ourselves. We want to do it. Not because we hope that by fucking you, you're going to love us. Because that's not how it's going to work. Right?
No.
Do it for pleasure only, perfectly fine. But if you think that's how you're going to make a relationship last, that's not going to make a relationship last.
It doesn't. I mean, my husband and I, we've been together 11 years, and it's a long time in gay years, by the way. I think it's like 5 lifetimes. And and you're absolutely right, because if I had based this relationship solely on a sexual act with him, there would be no relationship, because what happens is, just like every couple, eventually you kind of like, okay, babe, how are you? You see the same person over and over again. And there's got to be something else that brings you together. And you still have to have a sense of imagination for each other. Like, we were joking. He doesn't like it when I talk about our lives. He told me this yesterday, but I don't care. So, because people need to hear this. People need to hear this. So, I have, in our house, we have like a living room that's my living room. He's got his living room and separate spaces, so to speak. And that's just how it worked out. And so the other night I was like, hey, babe, do you want to come over and hang out at my house and watch some TV with me? Like, this is what we do. Or, we sometimes joke around, like before the quarantine and all that stuff. Like, I would be like, hey, hurry up home because someone's waiting for you. I heard somebody like just pulled in and they're waiting for you to get nasty with them in the bedroom. And of course it's me waiting for him. But this is how we keep our life interesting, because we're always finding new imaginative ways to keep things going. But yet we also understand that if you stripped away the sex, if you stripped away all of that, what you're left with is your ultimate companion, the ultimate person that you trust beyond trusting. There's nobody else than this companion, which is this person that you love unconditionally. And here's something I learned with my husband. He taught me this through some various actions. He taught me finally what real love is. Real love is the ability to say to your husband, go do the things that you need to go do to make you happy, because your happiness is more important. Like, that's what I told him. I said his happiness was more important at that moment than it was for me. And to me, what brought me happiness was knowing that I was fulfilling his happiness.
Yeah.
And how did that happen? Because I didn't have the fear that if he had to go and hang out with his friends or go out to the clubs with his girlfriends or whatever, like, I didn't have the fear, like, oh my God, he's talking to other guys. Like, he's going to leave me. Like, oh my God, we're going to have a divorce. Like, I didn't worry about any of that, because at the end of the day, him and I have very open, candid conversations with each other. And that's how it works. Like, one day we're sitting on the couch and I laid up next to him and I said, babe, can I tell you something? He's like, sure. And I'm like, do you know why I'm insecure? This is years ago, by the way. I said, do you know why I feel so insecure? And he says, no. And I said, because I know in my heart that I don't fantasize about anybody else to have a relationship with. I don't have any desire to have another husband, a boyfriend, sure, but not a husband. And so, like, I don't fantasize. And I know where I stand, but I don't know where you stand. And him and I started crying. And he was like, baby, I'm the same way. I don't fantasize about anybody else. I just think about you. And that continues to solidify the relationship, because now I'm like, okay, now I know where he stands. Yeah. And the other thing is he accepts me for me, and I accept him for him. And that takes a lot of, again, self-reflection. It also takes a lot of work to say, the person that I'm with, I have to accept these things about them. See, people make a mistake. I make the mistake. We all make this mistake. We go into a relationship with the belief that we're going to somehow change them and make them adapt to me. Mm-hmm. And Doesn't work. And in business, we do the same damn thing. We go, I'll take you on as a client and I'm going to make you turn into something that I want you to be. I want you to track your books better. I want you to track your receipts better. I want you to do this. Well, if the client does, fantastic. But I'm not going to be like angry, disappointed if they just don't do that. Now, sure, that violates now my policy, my boundaries policy, which means they're no longer a good fit. But I digress. We just kind of go, I accept this. And if we accept it from the very beginning, can't call the rules of engagement, then now we know how to interact.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important in relationship to be each other's best friends, right? So important.
That's it.
And in order to know how, like, you have to communicate. A lot of people are so scared. Like you mentioned earlier, right? Like you need to let go of all this shit from the past. Because if we have resentment or pain from the past, it's going to affect how we communicate with our loved one. Right?
Yes.
And you have
it's
to
true. And you bring it home.
Yeah.
You bring it home, a client pisses you off or something goes crazy, you bring it home. And my husband's really good because he'll be like, you're being crabby and you're being a drama queen right now. And I'd be like, yeah, because I'm really upset, I'm really furious, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll be like, just calm down, please, just calm down. And then it's like, okay, all right then, and then I kind of get back into, oh yeah, I'm home now and I can let that go. And, we're all in quarantine, by the way, at some form or another, be it self or regulated. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have boundaries. Speaking of boundaries, so I'm going to push my desk back. So everyone should know out there, if you're working from home, you need to have boundaries, speaking of which. And the boundaries are as simple as recognizing the area that you occupy in your home for your business. And this is my space. Like, this is where I do my business out of, so to speak, right in here. So anyways, my nips. So this is where I do my business. And when I get off of this couch, I would sit here so much, my butt was hurting from the hard chairs because I didn't bring my favorite chair from my office. So I had to put this couch here to preserve the butt. And I made a promise to myself. What's that?
It's a cute butt, by the way.
I do, right? I do get compliments on the butt. That's true. I actually do. You know what? I will say that God did give me a good ass. Like he really did. Like I'm really thankful that he gave me a good ass. And so that's it. So as soon as I get off of this space, it's like I have to magically transform from being the CEO of my companies into the husband for my husband.
Yeah.
And I don't violate this space. Like, I don't allow this to influence my relationship past the couch.
It's great.
Boundaries. I think that should be the key word. I think that should be the key word from now. Everyone says boundaries. We're gonna have to do like the movies when or the talk shows where they say the word of the day, boundaries, and they'd have. Yeah. Anyways, Lise, so check this out. So we've been going for an hour and 12 minutes. I've been stretching these things out for almost 2 hours. It's redonkulous. We could keep going. I mean, we could totally just keep going on this topic because it's an important topic. Mm-hmm. What would you say is like, so if somebody is in that newness of self-discovery, what's a piece of advice that you would say to them in their new discovery of discovering themselves?
I would say you might discover things you don't like. Beautiful things, but keep pushing through the pain. Keep pushing through what you discovered that you might not like, because there is a great life for you on the other side.
Yeah. And she doesn't mean death, people. She doesn't mean death. No. She let's not get confused here. She does not mean death, okay? I as a Buddhist, okay, I'll never forget. I went to my spiritual guide. This is the beginning of my practice now, almost 9 years ago. And I said to my spiritual guide, I said, okay, so do I have to die to become enlightened? And I'll never forget, because she was like, oh, I hope you don't die. Like, please don't die. Like, you cannot die to become enlightened. Like, And that was the moment when I realized, like, okay, like I don't have to become enlightened. That's cool. Because I was like, all right then, because I was struggling with the other concept, which is you do have to die in order to go into this amazing space. And so I was like, wait a minute. So now I do understand what she meant. And what she meant was to be enlightened simply means that you understand what is happening around you in a constant motion.
Yeah.
Like you understand the dots of connections within seconds of things appearing or appearing the way they're supposed to be or whatever. And sometimes it can take like months and years to connect the dots and to go like, oh yeah, I was supposed to have that. Oh yeah, I was supposed to have that. Like I had a situation where um the universe knew that I was supposed to do this with you. I was supposed to be sitting here with you on my show that, by the way, I just created on my own whim at a tax conference, Naked Tax Talk. Had no idea what it was going to really be about. I just said, and you know, we do talk taxes and we do talk sex and we do talk whatever. And the thing is that like the universe put into motion a whole bunch of things, like the people that I met in this journey, the coaches that I've hired and invested in, how I got my money back, how I've created the currency, how I've created the revenue, how I've created the opportunities to do this. Why? Because the universe already knew it. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is tapping in and finally going, oh, it kind of reminds me of like a highway. And it's like, choo, 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 choo. And we're like pedaling along. And we're like, I got to get on that highway. How do I get on the highway? How do I get on the highway? And we're looking for the entryway to get onto the highway. And then if we allow it, this is what Abraham talks about. Abraham Hicks, she talks about this, the allowing of being. And what she really means by this is that once I find the ramp to get onto the highway, if I just allow the speed of everyone else to propel me and to move me forward on the highway and press the gas to the pedal, I can truly reach enlightenment just as quickly by allowing myself to go as quickly as I want on that highway.
Yeah.
Just how it is. It's how it operates.
Yeah. I think, well, I believe that we all have a purpose, and sometimes shit happens and we move away from that purpose, but then the universe picks you up from that and puts you right back on track. And if you
That's what it does.
move away from it, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna use
It,
circumstances or people or whatever, but you're gonna really end up on the right track eventually.
you know why that is, right? It's called universe, actually stands for University of Life.
Yeah.
And it charges tuition when it has to teach you a lesson. And the lesson that teaches you, the tuition it collects is, like you just said, circumstances, loss of jobs, loss of lovers, loss of revenue, loss of something or whatever. It's just tuition that the universe is going, I got to collect because it's University of Life.
Yeah.
And more, I learned, so check this one out. So a few months ago, many months ago, I discovered something about the universe and tuition.
Okay.
So I say to the universe, I need about $2,500 so I can take my lovely dog, Coco Chanel, and get surgery. She needed surgery. She's a very, very sick dog, and she needed some surgery. So I'm like, I need $2,500 because that's how much it was going to cost to take her to the doctors. So universe brought me a client that paid me the $25,000. Or sorry, $2,500. And I was so delighted. And so I put it in the savings because that's what I do. And because I'm like a hoarder that way sometimes. And I'm like, okay, I'll just keep on it. And then I started noticing that I wasn't getting any more clients and the money wasn't coming in. And I was in the shower where all great thoughts come from. And I started realizing that I made a promise to the universe that I needed $2,500 to take care of my dog. And I had not called the vet to schedule the appointment. So I went, oh, universe brought me the revenue to take care of my dog. And if I don't fulfill that wish, the coffers were drying up. So right away, the next day, I called up the vet, bringing in the dog for surgery. Brought her in, paid him the money, whatever. I think it was like 2 weeks later or so, I closed a deal on a tax plan, like a big tax plan. Like because the universe is going, okay, good. You're listening to what you wanted this to be the wish. I'm fulfilling it. Your ass better fulfill it too. And again, we say the universe is in the business for saying yes all the time, but at the same time, it also charges tuition, especially if we do not fulfill its wishes that we made.
It's true.
And
Sometimes
there's something right now.
we forget our
Go
promises.
ahead.
We forget our promises. You know, oh, we can I please have this? I want to use it for this. And then we forget what we've said. But the universe reminds us.
Mm-hmm. It says no. Mm-mm. And then if you don't listen to it, my friend Tony Kaufman, she says the universe hits you with a 2x4,
Yeah.
and that's what knocks you out of cycle. And then I remember Sue Frederick, shout out to you, Sue, when she had a private consultation with me, and she had said to me that when we are not fulfilling our life's purpose, this is when we feel that resistance. This is when things like feel really tough. And she said that the universe will hit you twice. It will hit you around 29, 30, 31 if you're not in alignment with what you're supposed to do in this lifetime, because we're not listening to universe. That's the 2x4 that Tony talks about that slaps you around. And when she said that, I was looking back at those years in my life. So at that time, 29 to 31, I was a teacher. I became a teacher. I left the accounting world and I got my master's and I became a teacher. And I was facing a lot of issues in the school district and what have you. And the lesson, the universe was trying to tell me that I was supposed to be in this chair having this conversation. And I was refusing to listen. And so the drama got worse and worse and worse and worse until it finally cracked me. And I thought until my identity, Mr. Bengal, was removed and he was murdered, that I realized that, okay, I have to do something else in my life. And that's when I came into my company 100% again. So then she says to me, it happens again. I think she said it was close to like 56 to 60, something like that. If you are not fulfilling your life's purpose again by that age, it'll hit you again with another before. And it was just crazy to hear that from like multiple people saying all of these analogies. And you're just like, oh my gosh, there's got to be some truth to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I even
yeah,
tried
there you have it.
for my problems. I thought if I moved away from this country and all the men I know and my life here, that I'm going to reinvent myself, right? So I moved to the Cayman Islands back in 2006, and
Ooh.
yeah, and it was great, right? And then I fell in love, and guess what? I had not done the work. I was like, what was I? I was. I can't remember how old I was back then. 2006. You figure it out. I'm not good at math. I'm not like you.
Hey, I don't know either. I'm an accountant.
What's the deal with figures? Anyway, so yeah, I moved away thinking that life will be different because now I'm in a different country. But no, because I had not changed. I had not transformed my life. Same problems occurred over there with a man, right? I fell in love, was supposed to get married, and it didn't happen. He broke my heart and moved back here. And, then I found another boyfriend who also broke my heart here, the last one. And yeah, so you cannot run away from your problems. You always have to deal with the problems.
And it takes confidence. It takes you stepping in that power and going, I'm going to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. So we're going to wrap this up because it's almost 8:00. But with that being said, I know, right? Isn't it been fantastic? Okay. So if people want to get a hold of you, how do we get a hold of you if they want to speak, if they're going, you know what, I am tired of the cycle of the same lover every single time, or I'm tired of the same this, same that. How do we contact you so that we can start working on the transformation so that we break the cycle of repeated whatever abuse? Let's call it what it is. It's freaking abuse, be it in business or be it personal.
exactly. Absolutely. There's different, there's different degrees of abuse, but it's all under abuse. Yeah. Yeah, but they can
Hmm.
email me because right now they're working on my website and it's still not done.
Woohoo!
So they can email
I
me
know
at
the feeling.
liselevingcoaching@gmail.com. And yeah, if you want to contact me, I offer a relationship readiness assessment. And no, not Lise Living.
Uh,
I like that though.
okay.
I like
Oh,
that. Change it to that.
okay. Let me read. Oh wait, no, go. Okay, let me try it again. Okay, spell it out for me. Then apparently,
L-I-S
Lise.
Lavigne coach.
Oh, it's your last name. I heard living.
But I really love the living part. I think I'm going to change everything to living.
Do you understand what just happened right now? Do you want to talk about universe, how fast it moves? I wrote that, not I just wrote it because that's what I heard you say. I heard you Lise Living Coaching. That's what I heard you say.
Yeah.
I posted it, and this is how fast universe works, because here's the thing. Sometimes I realize now that we're all just conduits of universe's messages. And I don't remember half the things I say, which is I think why I record. This is why it records here, because I don't remember what I say. Why? Because universe is just moving through us and it's just delivering messages. And sometimes we're meant to hear it and pick it up. So that was a mistake, a sticky one that you're going to totally lean into. I love that. Lisa Living.
Yeah.
Living, Lavigne, coaching at gmail.com. And she's going to change it, though, to Lisa Living Coaching. I think because isn't that the truth?
Yeah,
It's about living.
it is about living. Yeah.
Mhm.
And,
It's
some
funny.
people, they just survive and they don't actually live. I was surviving for too many years. We have to live.
That's it.
Survive. We
That's
have to live.
exactly it.
Even right now in this hard time of the coronavirus.
And the uncertainty that happens. So, absolutely. Well, Chikalika, so in 3 minutes that we have, I just want to tell you that it's been such a fantastic honor to have you on here. We killed an hour and a half almost coming up. It's been such a pleasure to have such a great conversation with you. And I really enjoyed it. This was perfect because this is the perfect segue to my book that I'm working on called Sex and Taxes. And it's going to be the big book, because what I'm doing is I'm walking you through my life's journey way as far back as one goes, and going through all my milestones in my life, and sexually, by the way, and how each of those milestones played a role in my business, which ultimately suffered. And then when I had enough, like I wrote in my journal, I was going to read this. I was going to read this journal entry, but I wrote the final last words I wrote was, "That was the past." And then I started in. And then let me just read you this. This will make sense. So, okay, we're going to go over time. Who cares?
That's
So
all right.
I wrote this. I said, "Is so and so really a friend?" Which is a client. I said, "Are they really a friend?" And the answer is no. They are like a hookup, or they're like a one night stand that you meet. It's like instant love. You just love them from the start. The level of endorphins from first sight causes the heart to raise. All you know is you want to see a lot of them all the time. They lead you on, ignoring your text messages until they decide to text you, pretending you never texted them first. You hold on to the mere idea they will be yours to see again. When you are the one, when you are with them, it's like a drug, only enough of a high to leave you craving for more. Eventually, the texts slow to a crawl. You hear they're still hooking up, they're still having one night stands with others, yet not with you. Eventually, you accept the relationship has come to an end. And then I wrote in big letters, "That was the past." Then I wrote this. Now, question mark. No, I will step into my power, my being. I'm going to allow myself to stay. I'm no longer going to allow myself to stay in a one way relationship anymore. I am confident that I have done everything I said I would do. I refuse to allow them to control me or my outcome. I will not allow them to undervalue me again. I refuse to keep being the victim.
That is so beautiful. I love it.
And and that's what I'm going to do. So my books, we're going to go through my past and again my sexual milestones and link them to how it impacted my business and how finally it was me who took me, as we just said earlier in the show, stepping into my new sense of value, my new sense of power, and how that radically changed. You hear it in the text. It just completely radically changed it. And that's what I mean by, if we clean up our sex, if we clean up our past, if we clean up all of that stuff, the personal side of our lives, our businesses clean up. Because you see, the moment that I stepped into that power, that is when my business started to take off. That's when I started making more money, which is the third side effect, which is your money increases. Your taxes, when you work with me, stay low. But I digress. Like, this is what happens, right? Is we raise this up. And the business, because we represent it, also increases. And then the money, which is really a symbolism of energy, also increases. And this is what I mean by when I say we talk about the personal things, the business stuff, and the money. And what does it boil down to? This right here. Saying, I've had enough. I'm not going to be the victim anymore. I refuse to let you push me around. I refuse to let you be the bully. That's
a
it.
Great book. I want to read it. I want to buy it.
I've been writing a chapter every night. Oh, but I should tell you, it's really graphic. Like, some of the stuff is very graphic. Leaves no imagination to the mind. But it's sex and taxes. It's supposed to be naughty.
Exactly. You're the naked sex. What's it called again? You're the
naked tax talk.
My lips can't even. Naked tech talk. Whatever mind.
Naked tax talk.
You're the naked guy.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. And it's kind of funny because if you think about it, naked tax talk is really there's a hidden message there, which I didn't even know. And the hidden message there is that people are afraid of two big words. They're afraid of the word naked, and they're afraid of the word tax. Oh, there's three words, and they're afraid of the word talk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so they get really like, oh, I don't know if I don't know if I can, like, I don't know if I could either be on your show or be your client, like, And the truth is that's great, because the people that do want to work with me are willing to get naked figuratively. They're willing to talk about their taxes and their lives, and they're willing to talk and move through this. I mean, I remember Paige, my director, she said to me, Jonathan, you do understand that you're a business coach, right? Like, you're an actual business coach. And I never thought of myself as being a business coach, but that's exactly what happens when clients engage with me. Is I end up finding myself giving them more advice, like, this is how we raise your prices. This is how we segment your cost of goods. This is how we figure out, like, this is what I do as a business owner. And then I just kind of transfer the information over. And anyway, so I don't know where I was going with all that, but I can't wait for this book. It's gonna be Sex and Taxes. The first book that I wrote, which is in editing now, is the ABCs of Deductions, and I can't wait for that to come out, because people are finally going to see how I'm able to take complex. This is the genius, to take really complex stuff and distill it into its simplest form, so that everybody around us can understand it. And it's kind of why I like to use sexual analogies to business and tax, because we all understand sex.
Yeah.
We've all been there in one form or the other. We all know what it's like to masturbate. We all know what it's like to be with just one person. We all know what it's like to be in a threesome, a foursome, an orgy. Let's be real. Don't be hiding it. We all know. We've all been there. And we can correlate to that. We can totally relate to that. AKA, If I want to go into business with a whole bunch of people, it's called an orgy, people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you get into bed with a whole bunch of strangers, there's bound to be problems. So, just saying. So, it's the same damn thing. Sleep with a whole bunch of people, you're going to have a whole bunch of problems. Let anybody come into your door to do business with you, you're going to have a lot of problems. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah. It makes it so relatable to people when you associate taxes and sex.
That's it. I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, I can go on and on. You know what I mean? It's kind of like my favorite topic is sex and entities, and we released a video a few weeks ago called "Sex and Entities," and it's a 5-minute video. And in a nutshell, what I do is I walk the listener or the viewer through unprotected sex, dental dams, and condoms. And I like it.
What is that?
Well, dental dams. Okay, so I mean a better analogy than that. Okay, but I remember being in sex ed.
What is this?
Dental dams are the things that dentists put in your mouth. That's like a rubber apparatus, and then they kind of isolate the tooth, and they just work on the tooth.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, and I hear that my lesbian friends
Mhm.
can use such devices to protect themselves. This is what they encouraged. This is what they encouraged
Oh,
lesbians to use.
okay. All right, I get it.
All right, for oral pleasure,
Okay.
and or for men to use on a woman as well, right? So you use a dam to
Mhm.
protect, right?
Okay.
And so with that, so that's the analogy. So I say, okay, well, solopreneurship without any protection, it's like having unsafe sex. And all it takes is one STD to ruin it all. And then and then I say dental dams. It's like the LLC here in the United States. And it offers protection, but the juices that can come out from the side. But you're still not in direct contact, but juices can still flow. And then if you want ultimate protection, it's called the condom, which is 99.99% effective. A corporation is also 99.99% effective. And I also explain how Uncle Sam doesn't like, he's a very prude. I don't know if Canada is the same. I don't know if Uncle Canada is the same way, but I know here, Uncle Sam, he's a prude and he hates safe sex. And so he punishes you. And how he punishes you is he makes you pay more in taxes than you need to.
Yeah.
If you practice with a dental dam, he rewards you a little bit, but it's still kind of risky and it's unsafe. So he doesn't like that. So he punishes you, you pay more money. If you're a corporation or using a condom, he's a prude. He likes condoms. He likes safe sex. And so he rewards you by mitigating the taxes which you pay him at the end of the year.
I just love your creativity and how you can associate everything with sex. I just love it.
This is what my genius zone is. So so that's just one example. And so like I said, right now I'm working through the sexual stories. And like I just finished my first chapter, a major chapter, and it deals with a very innocent act on my part when I was 6 years old. It happened with a boy, and then it happened with a girl. We were both 6 years old, and how that innocent act would turn into shame and guilt because my mother basically beat me up, and well, let's be real, she spanked me, but AKA beat me up. Um, because I was caught, touching a girl out of curiosity, because she was just as curious as I was, and I was called a pervert and stuff like that. And in that moment, that is when it cemented that I definitely wasn't worthy enough. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
And so in that incident, it's story number one. And so I tie that to the I'm not valuable, I'm a pervert, I'm this and that, right? Because this is what was told to me at that time. I reject all that now. I digress. And the chapter number 2 was my very first childhood friend, and he's the one who taught me the art of masturbation and the art of pillow humping and all of that stuff. And so I go into graphic details of how all that came out to be, and I'm still working on it because I got to get through, because he taught me a whole bunch. Like, he was a year older than me. I was 12, I think, or 11, and he was 12 or 13, and so he taught me everything from everything. And the funny thing is, I remember I so badly wanted to actually touch him. and I so badly wanted to play with him.
Yeah.
And the one time I tried, like he like, no, 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 like you stay on your side of the pillow. Like you stay, we had a pillow that divided us. And so it was like, you stay on your pillow. But I was too focused on watching him. And I had technically not reached the age of puberty. I had not had a wet dream yet. And I'm giving away the book. Oh my gosh, I got to let people read it. But so you'll know about that story and how
I want to buy it because I'm sure all your audience right now wants to buy this book.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be
amazing.
It's going to be it's going to be great. And then so what I want to do is I want to walk me through all of my experiences, talk, and then I'm going to reflect on the self, right? Like what did that mean? What did that equate to, et cetera, et cetera. And then I want to pull that into, which is what's going to happen, is that's how it translated into business. You see what I mean? Like innocently, we started business without thinking about the consequences of starting a business. And it's the same innocence that happens as a child. It's the same thing. And the notion of love me, love me, love me at all costs, it's the same thing in business. And so that's going to be the whole entire book. It's going to be the sexual story followed by how it affected my business quite literally. And then as we know, in books, you have to have a resolution. And the aha moment, the conflict, the aha moment is the moment when I step into my power and say, enough is enough. And this started happening in 2016, I'm sorry, in 2016. But it would take several years to get to the point where I finally had truly enough.
Yeah.
And all of those stories around it, and all the stories between the sales conversations I've had, and doing the work without getting paid, or doing the work and then being refused to be paid, or being accused of not doing your thing and your integrity, like all of that, and working through it. And I keep getting told from the universe, I'm supposed to do this. And there's a part that is afraid. There's a part of me that is really scared to write this book in its entirety and to release it to the world. But at the same time, I also know that deep down inside, this is exactly what has to come out. Because what man would share his story about all of his sexual experiences, key ones anyways, that made an impact in his life, and how it impacted his business? I mean, who does this? And so it's really a moment of truth of saying, this is all the stuff that happened. And this is how it made me so that I felt like I wasn't worthy enough. I didn't deserve it.
Well, I think your book is going to help a lot of people. And that's the whole point with our life experiences. If we can help at least one other person with our life, it's something good. Right? You don't want the universe
And that's
take the 2x4 or the 4x4 or
no,
whatever and
no.
hit you over the head. So yeah, publish that book.
I'm going to totally get on it. Yeah. Because, it's funny. So I was talking with one of my other friends and I was sharing a story, which is what we're due, right? This is storytelling and truth, by the way. But nevertheless, so I shared a story with what had happened recently. And she started to tear up and she said, I thought I was the only one.
Yeah.
That's the moment when you realize this stuff that we're talking about has to come out. People have to know.
Yeah.
Because of that exact moment of, I thought I was the only one.
Yeah. And there's so many people believing that even now, that they're the only ones. And if it takes people like you and people like me and people that we both know that talk about their personal life and in order to help others, there's like millions of other people that need to hear your story, my story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pain.
Yeah. And it is, and it's so interesting because, you want to hear another thing about universe?
Yeah.
So universe is always giving us hints. And if you notice, I'm always giving credit to the people that say things to me. If you notice, I'm always saying, it's like you prayed over my jacket and it truly has protected me since that day you blessed it. Like, it's been phenomenal. And I think about you when people compliment me or they find it amazing. Like, I always think about you because you put your prayer and your protection on it. And what I discovered through all of this, because this is just the beginning for both of us, and there's greater endeavors for all of us. And the lesson that I learned is the importance of giving credit where credit is due.
Absolutely.
Even if it's as simple as saying, it's just like my friend says, or it's just as simple as so and so says. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Because every single one of us, as Iman says, we all want to be seen and we all want to be heard.
Yeah.
And when someone takes your words and reuses them as their words or your product and reuses them as their product
Yeah.
and doesn't give you credit, that is like taking you and suffocating you and taking the oxygen out of you.
Absolutely.
And when I saw this happen to me live in my face, it's funny how when that happened to me, I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this just is happening to me right now." Like my heart is actually pounding right now just talking about this. Like it's actually nodding up right now. Like I can totally feel it. When that happened to me, something happened like subconsciously in my mind that I would never, ever, ever miss giving credit to where credit is due.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people don't do that. They just take the credit for themselves.
Hmm. And so, in many ways, I remember I made this video when I was on the cruise, and I'm working on editing all these things, by the way, myself, because that's how I am. I'm just curious to do it, and um, I remember talking into the phone and having that conversation about credibility and having it taken and so forth and so on. And then what happened to me is universe sent me a message, and that was is that here's the thing, JB, there's been no original ideas. We've always been taking other people's ideas. And as long as we keep giving credit, that's what we're chasing, that's what we're after. And which is why we say, you know what, I got to give God credit
Yeah.
because he's the one who gave me, he's the one who led me here. I have to give Buddha the credit, and the Buddhas give them credit for the teaching me how to become enlightened. It's all about going back and saying thank you to all of everybody that has brought forth the message.
Yeah.
Credibility is so important, and we do it all the time. Thank God, I thank God, I thank God. That's like giving him credit for everything. That's how powerful giving credit really is.
Yeah. I want to give credit to somebody right now. I don't know if
Go
he's
for it.
listening to your show right now, and you know this person because you mentioned it earlier. Iman Agai. Um, I'm able to give talks. Like I'm able to, you know, have this interview with you today because back back in 2015, I had met Iman like in 2012 for website, learning how to make my own website. But I started working with him in 2015, and he believed more in me than I believed in myself. And this is why I'm able to speak on stage and do things that I'm doing now is because of Iman, because he gave me the strength. He gave me the faith in myself to be able to go out there and share my stories with people. So I love Iman.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the guy inspires. I mean, you can't say no to that for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's interesting because the self-reflection of self, the money story, as people talk about, started with Jane. And then when I was doing her worksheets and stuff like that, it started opening up these new thoughts. And then when I went to Iman about a month later or so, and entered into his speaking program, that was what it was. It was trying to find our core story, and I'll never forget the core story was me telling the story of me coming out of the closet, and really the torment that I went through as young. We're talking at 14 years old, and
Mhm.
the name calling and the being beat up and you name it, and it was through the story that I figured out that my core message, thanks to that exercise, that my core message is that once we accept ourselves for who we are
Yeah.
in its entirety, the good things and the bad things, once we accept who we are,
Yeah.
there's nothing that people can say to us or do to us to stop us from fulfilling our life's purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, we become unstoppable when we realize that, for sure.
Hmm. Yep. So you're absolutely right. I mean, it brings up a good point, which is investing in coaches. Sometimes we need that. And it's no different than if you go to church on Sundays or if you go to temple and meditate and you pay. In my case, they charge us because they do, which is fantastic because it's an appreciation, first of all, but it's a donation requested. And it's no different than giving our spiritual beings, our spiritual guides,
Yeah,
revenue to teach us how to be happy and everything else. It is no different than when you invest in a coach
yeah,
to hold you accountable, to inspire you, to guide you. And this is the lesson I've learned. You can buy all the coaches you want in life, but it's up to us to ultimately take the lessons that we are meant to hear and to see and to act upon.
so
We
true.
can't blame our coaches and go, they didn't teach me, they didn't teach me, they la, la, la. We can't do that. All
Yeah,
we can do is simply say, you know what? Thanks to my coaches, these are the lessons I learned. This is what I took from all of it.
yeah,
That's the truth. If we get into the blame game, there's no winning. But
true.
if we get to the thankfulness, there's all winning.
Yep, yeah.
So,
And if we implement what our coaches tell us,
yeah, I mean, implementation is massive. And here's the other thing, though, too. As Jane says, you can't thrive under somebody else's agenda. And in a way, sure, absolutely, our coaches give us stuff to do. Like, you got to do this process, use this formula, use this worksheet, blah 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 blah. This is what they do. And if it doesn't feel right for you, then simply adjust it to meet your personality, to meet who you are, and try to stay within the shell of what they're giving you. Take it, utilize it. And this is what I found myself doing is I was taking Jane's stuff, I was taking Iman's stuff, and I was basically merging it into what is here today, a shirtless man who's had on a couch talking to you.
yeah, and it's wonderful.
So it is, right? It's just taking all of that and how do I turn it and translate it into me? It's like for example, when you became a relationship coach, sure you could have modeled all of the other relationship coaches and based your business on their models,
Yeah,
but it wouldn't fit your personality.
yeah,
And it's kind of like me and my new business, Naked Tax Talk. Sure, I could be like every other accountant and be in a suit, which by the way was suggested many times. I don't want to do that. That's not who I am. I want to be authentically here with just my nips are hidden because it's not fair that women can't show their nips, and so I won't either. So, with that being said, it's the same thing. It's like this is who I am.
yeah.
So,
Our life is much better
ah, goodness,
when we show up as ourselves, right? I should have
that's
worn one
exactly it.
tonight. I feel like I should have worn something else.
What's funny, so in the olden days, my show first started. We would be interviewed in bathrobes. That's how originally it used to be, or nighty wear.
Oh,
And so because I could no longer wait for the edited videos, I decided to sidestep it thanks to Paul Chow, who said, just create a show called Naked Text Talk Raw. And by sidestepping it, it made perfect sense because it's unedited. We don't wait for production. It's just real time. And it just evolved into me being like this, which just recently, by the way, normally I wear my jacket like last night,
mhm.
but it's evolved into some type of nakedness here or a jacket, and then my guests are just showing up and they're just appearing as. Um, and it's just the natural ebb and flow of life. And again, it boils down to non-attachment. And I'm not attached to everyone has to always be in lingerie or everyone has to be in a bathrobe. Like if the show evolves into something else, it will evolve into something else.
Yeah,
In business, same thing. If we allow our business to evolve and to grow, it will. And when it comes to as you know, our relationships and sex life, if we allow it to evolve and grow, it will.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to definitely wrap this one up. We've been at this for an hour and 54 minutes. Woo,
Oh my.
girl. Um, I'm gonna definitely download this sucker, and then I'm gonna cut it up into segments. I think because I think there's a lot of golden nuggets in this particular cast. These 2 hours that we've been chit chatting. Which here's the thing, though, the topic you and I are talking about, I really firmly believe that it's a really important topic, Very, very important topic.
Yeah.
And so, with that in mind, I just want to tell everybody out there, thank you so much for watching. Even if you watch for 5 minutes or a second, or for this whole entire 2 hours. And I also want to give a big thank you to Lise. Merci beaucoup pour venir ici dans mon show, mon émission. Et c'était mon plaisir. Et c'est dommage un petit peu parce que finalement, à ce moment, j'ai le désir de parler en français. Et voilà. Et j'ai oublié que j'ai un ami que je peux parler français exactement comme avec toi. Et, et voilà. Et c'est tout. Mais voilà. Et bon, merci beaucoup pour votre temps.
Bienvenue. You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely so. Et voilà. Donc, dans la future, peut-être nous pouvons continuer à discuter ça en français. Parce que j'ai réalisé à ce moment qu'il faut que je continue de pratiquer le français. Parce que sinon, si je veux oublier, et voilà.
Oui, c'est ça. Oui, oui. Il faut pratiquer parce que tu vas perdre des mots, tu t'en souviendras plus de mots. Non, il faut pratiquer toujours.
C'est ça. J'ai une histoire, une petite histoire. Quand je suis allé en France en octobre, j'étais là pour 3 semaines. Et le premier jour, je rappelle, quand je suis arrivé à Paris, mon français, c'était exactement comme ça. Je ne sais pas le mot, I struggled. I struggled de parler, d'exprimer mes émotions, d'interact, avec les autres. Et ça m'énerve parce que j'aime parler, bien sûr, et j'aime des réceptions avec les autres personnes. Et finalement, après, je crois que ça fait 2 jours, 3 jours après, finalement, je peux parler français meilleur. Je peux exprimer mes émotions avec mes amis, avec ma famille française, tout ça. Mais je réalisais que ça fait un jour c'est tout. Un jour finalement à tout avec français. Et après, ça me rêve. Je me dis, oh bon, je suis français, je peux continuer la conversation en français, je peux discuter mes émotions, voilà. Et voilà.
Oui.
Finalement, j'arrive.
Tu peux toujours pratiquer avec moi. Appelle-moi, on va pratiquer ensemble.
Ouais, et c'est ça aussi, parce que moi, je connais pas les mots exactement français. Par exemple, avec la réception, le valeur, c'est ça le valeur de nous. Et les mots comme ça.
Oui.
Parce que c'est nouveau pour moi. Et voilà. Par exemple, j'ai un tuteur français, mais seulement pour le business. Et elle m'aidait avec le français, mais seulement pour entreprise.
OK.
Parce que c'est différent. C'est différent quand je parle avec toi comme un ami.
Oui. Le langage français pour l'entreprise et personnel, c'est différent.
C'est ça, exactement. Parce qu'en français, on utilisait le vous et nous. Bon, vous, bien sûr, vous, parce que c'est le formel. Mais normalement, avec tes amis, ta famille, te dire tout. Et c'est la normale pour moi de parler. Quand je parle avec quelqu'un que je ne connais pas, j'ai utilisé le te, le un familier, mais je sais la même fois qu'il faut que j'utilise vous. Mais ça, c'est difficile pour moi. Je ne sais pas. Bon, bien sûr, parce que c'est pas exactement mon première langue. C'est pas ma langue native. C'est mon deuxième langue.
Oui, c'est une habitude. Tu vas t'habituer à prononcer le mot vous quand tu parles avec. C'est quoi en français? Tu vois, même moi, j'oublie des mots en français. C'est quoi business?
Comme vous, vous, excusez-moi, monsieur, mais est-ce que vous voulez, blablabla.
À tes businessmen, voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Non, jamais.
Pardon-moi, monsieur, est-ce que vous voulez coucher avec moi ce soir? Et, répétez encore?
Il faut pas que tu dis à tes, to your colleagues, business colleagues,
Yeah,
voulez-vous
collégien.
moi?
Yeah, voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Oui. Jamais, 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 jamais. Je peux dire avec confiance que je vais coucher avec mes clientes. C'est pas existe. Ça, c'est mon boundary. Je le dis, non. Je suis pas un bordel. J'ai un office, je suis mon integrity et tout ça. Et jamais je dors, jamais je couche, je fais de sexe avec une cliente.
Non, c'est bon ça.
Une fois seulement une fois. Parce que j'ai une grande, je trouvais lui beaucoup pour 4, 6 ans. Et je voulais faire l'amour avec lui.
Oui.
Et bien sûr, mais je dis rien parce que c'est pas professionnel. Donc, je dis rien. Et un jour, j'ai été avec lui comme ça, et,
Ouais.
avec un virtual meeting.
Mhm.
Et il m'a dit, oh, Jonathan, où est ton chemise? Je suis pas une chemise propre. Et moi,
Mhm.
j'ai dit, oh non, non, je suis ici à mon office le week-end avec un t-shirt. Et il m'a dit, oh, mais c'est cool parce que moi, j'ai pas de pantalon.
Oh non?
Et lui, c'est, oh là là, I forgot the word, but he stood up.
Okay.
And when he did, quand il a fait,
Il s'est
répète?
levé, stand up.
Il se levait. Thank you. I knew that was the word. OK. Il se levait. Et quand il se levait, le beat, c'était grand, enormous comme ça. Il était comme ça. Et moi, je dis, oh mon Dieu, pourquoi tu te fais ça? C'était comme 2 mois que j'ai fait l'amour avec quelqu'un parce que j'étais travaillé avec les impôts, tout le jeu, blablabla. Oh mon Dieu, il faut que nous continuions le rendez-vous à chez moi. Allez, viens tout de suite. Mais c'est lui qui commence.
Ah,
C'est
ok.
lui qui commence ça.
C'est
C'est
ça.
la raison de je dis, OK. Mais moi, non, jamais, jamais, jamais je commence parce que c'est pas professionnel. Et c'est intéressant parce que nous avons fait la mort, bien sûr,
Oui.
et, mais ça fait difficile pour continuer la réception en business.
Mais oui.
Parce que tu sentir que tu es obligé à donner lui un solde, yeah, un discount, un solde,
Oui.
et voilà. Et bien sûr, continuer le cycle, continuer. Oh, s'il te plaît, travaille avec moi, s'il te plaît, donnez-moi, je travaille je travaille pour toi. Tu pas payé, c'est bon pour moi, mais seulement la réception pour toi.
Ouais.
Ça, c'est fou, ça.
Oui, absolument. C'est fou. Oui.
C'est fou.
Ah bon.
C'est terrible, ça. Mais voilà, c'est comme vie. C'est la vie.
Oui. Il faut
Ouais.
pratiquer en
Bon,
français.
OK, ça.
Promets-moi,
Ouais, yeah.
et puis on va parler en français.
OK. Bon, je veux commit to you. Yeah, I'm going to commit to you.
OK.
Yeah.
Au
Yeah,
revoir.
c'est clair. OK, je veux dire à tous mes viewers, thank you so much for watching us here. We shut the show down at 2 hours and 2 minutes. This is the longest, I think, now on record for the show. And I just want to thank everybody out there for watching again, 20 seconds an hour and, the whole 2 hours, whatever, joining here. Lise, thank you so much for being my guest here on my show. It's been such a pleasure, such an honor. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, it made it to the end of this video. I just want to say that if you'd like to know about how to raise your prices to match your value, let's get naked at nakedtaxtalk.com. So if you want to raise your prices to match your value, finally, let's get naked at nakedtaxtalk.com. And until next time, I don't have a guest yet right now lined up, so I'll go find me one, but that's not a problem. And otherwise, stay tuned. You'll never know what happens. I might have Coco Chanel, my dog, as a guest. Maybe that would be a fun episode. So with that being said, thank you, everybody. Have a great evening, a great day, morning, or whatever time it is you're watching this. Merci beaucoup à tous mes amis françaises, mes familles françaises, et voilà. Donc, à la prochaine.
Bonjour.
And now we dance and make silly noises and music